But did you know that we can't say anything else but yes? Because when we say no to something, we're actually focused on that, and that's a yes. Whatever we're focused on, we're saying yes to. So let's really think about that when we're saying yes and when we're saying no. Right? Well, it's likely that since today is only the second Sunday in June, that you may not have noticed that there's a trend in our focus this month. It's on catchy phrases. Sayings that we seem to hear for the first time somewhere, and then just like that. We hear it everywhere, or we seem to anyway. Like last Sunday's, so this happened. That has now just become a common phrase on Facebook. And so, as it's been mentioned, today's talk title is I Got You. Now, how many of us remember the old Sonny and Cher song, I Got You, Babe? Well, today's not about that song. And I thought I'd clear that up before I went any further. In fact, today's talk isn't about who or what we've got in the world. A person, a possession, a title, a position. It's about where we've got the world, ourselves and each other, in our mind, in our thoughts. It's about the opinions that we hold about ourselves and about others and about happenings that cause us to perceive the world the way we do. Nisargadatta Maharaj wrote, whatever happens, happens to you, for you, and through you. You are the creator, the enjoyer, and the destroyer of all that you perceive. I got you. May not seem new, but is suddenly catching on, and it's being said everywhere, it seems, by everyone. I mean, we hear it more often in TV shows and in new movies, and even my trainers, my workout trainers on my computerized treadmill have all started to say it too. I got you. And I believe them. It's a phrase that's intended to mean you can do it. It's intended to bring calmness and peace, a sense of trust, to ease fear and apprehension that someone might be feeling. Like a baby who's just learning to walk, I got you. Or a child who's just learning to swim or ride a bike, we're there, I got you. Or an adult who's just trying to learn some new physical activity and we want to support. I got you. And I've been thinking about those words and why they're so catchy, and I believe it's because they hold a deeper spiritual meaning for us that we're not always consciously aware of. But even if it's not a conscious knowing, even if it's just a subtle feeling, we often sense that there is a powerful something that has our back no matter what. But when we consciously look for it, when we open our mind to it, it's as if we can almost hear the source energy of love, the life force within us, the God of our creation, whispering to us, fear not, I got you. That promise is spoken of in every sacred text. And it's stated so beautifully in the book of Isaiah. It's one of my favorite Bible verses. Though the mountains move and the hills shake, my love will not be removed from you, and my covenant of peace will not be shaken. In other words, I got you. Abraham Hicks tells us the truth is the universe will always take care of you. So the first question this morning is, do we feel taken care of by the universe in which we live? Are we relaxed and enjoying life just as a child would? Or do we worry and feel anxious most of the time? I mean, do we trust that no matter what, there is a power everywhere, including right where we are, that is greater than any challenge to our health, our happiness, our experience of abundance, or our peace? That it loves us and has got us in its embrace? Or do we look to the world to get what we need and to keep us safe and find it falls short of supply of everything? Now, we all talk to ourselves every time we think. We constantly remind ourselves, actually, of what we think. What we think about this and what we think about that, as if we didn't think about what we like and dislike and how we think about this and that, we might forget. So we just run it over in our head. But more often than not, we talk to ourselves without wondering who we're talking to. I mean, since there's only one of us in the mirror, it only makes sense that we must believe that there is a part of us that we can't see. And unless we're praying, we usually think we're talking to a private, invisible self that we can't see, but we have no problem believing it's part of us. We listen to the feedback we get from that self. We check in with it for the pros and cons if we have some decision that we want to make. We check in with it to see how we're doing, how we just did wherever we are, and how we're doing in the world, and if the world is treating us fairly or not. We let it automatically decide who we like and why, and who we don't like and why. And we're all familiar with that self, the invisible one who's defensive on our behalf. The one who believes it's us against the world because it believes we're separate from the world and all that we see and all that we experience. And because it does, it's got us in a self-protective grip of fear and separation that causes us to believe that we are alone and on our own, that we have to make things happen if we want something to happen, and that we're less than who we'd like to be and we can't do those things that we'd like to do. And even though that self agrees with our negative thinking and we agree with its negative thinking, that agreement never feels good. We get in trouble when we mistake that self born of our worldly experiences as all there is to us, the only self we can talk to. When it has no knowledge beyond what's already happened to us in our life. It has no knowledge of where we came from truly, or where we're created to go, or what we're created to do. It's in the world and it's of the world. We know we're listening to that self when the answers we get or the thoughts that come to us are not only limited, but they're not satisfying or peaceful. And even if we agree with them, and we get others to agree with them, they never feel good. Thank God. There's more to us and more within us and more for us than the thoughts we've already thought and the world we've already seen. Our true self. The larger, invisible, spiritual part of us is the self we can't live without. Even now. Even if we don't believe it's true. Even if we don't believe it's there. Even if we haven't talked to it yet. Because it's the invisible part of us that's the life within us. The inner us that actually animates the outer us. We can't have this without that. It's in the world with us, but it's not of the world. It's the unlimited self of God's creation that knows that our physical self is simply a condensed version of itself, that we are a condensed version of ourself. That cosmic self, that's way beyond what we've ever seen before. Though we can't see it, is the non-physical part of us that we're created to be eternally. It's the one we're always talking about. And we're created to express it physically as much as we can while we're here. We don't express it all, but we can all express more than we do. That self knows us as God created us. And that even in this physical form, we're still a creation of God. And as we start living with an awareness of that self, as we start living from the inside out, we know it too. And we'll know that nothing is impossible to us. Our inner being, that greater part of us, always whispers to us, I got you. Not because we're vulnerable or a victim of the world and need to be protected, but because we are an unlimited spiritual being in a temporary physical form that requires greater and greater self-expression. Our inner self wants us to express outwardly more and more of who we are inwardly. So why is it that we have no problem at all believing in a tiny, invisible self that's separate from everything? It's such a hard time accepting an unlimited, invisible self that is one with everything. Our inner being always looks out for us, always has our best interest in mind, because no matter what we think or say or do, it only knows what's true about us. It never believes the lies that we've been told about ourselves, even if we humanly believe them and act upon them. It knows what we want, just as we know what we want. But it never believes that we can't have it. And it never believes anything is impossible for us. It knows what we mean, even when we misspeak, because it knows our heart and our good intentions. Our spirit, our soul, our inner being is never going to agree with our negative thoughts. Never. When we turn to that self for guidance, it will never guide us to think or say or do anything that isn't good for us and good for all. It is. And we are, because we are that, inseparable from the love and joy and peace and power of the universe. There's no other place for anything, anyone to exist outside of the allness that is love, that is God. No outside to it for anything to be. Our inner beings got us in an embrace of unconditional love. So it's a really good idea for us to start turning within to that self and listen for the guidance there. When we listen within, and a thought comes that feels good, or when a feeling comes without a thought, we know we're in sync with the self of God's creation. Abraham Hicks tells us you cannot be in sync with Source and thinking about somebody negatively at the same time. When we have a negative opinion about someone, we've got them in our mind right where we believe they belong. And sure enough, they live up to our expectations every time. Why is that? Because that's all that we can perceive of them. It is our mind looking at what we believe about someone, and that's all that's going on. Abraham Hicks tells us, you are the vibrational writers of the script of your life. And everyone else in the universe is playing the part that you have assigned to them. Our thoughts are powerful, creative things that set the scenes that we play out with each other, that we play out with strangers, that we play out with everyone in this world. And if we've got each other in a negative place in our mind, our thoughts will continue to write similar scenes in the future, and nothing will change. Ever hear someone talking about someone in a nice way that you don't get along with? And you thought for a moment, you tossed around in your head, maybe you should let them know who that person truly is, because they don't know them too well. But others simply reflect back to us individually where we've got them in our mind. Now, when we've got someone in a place of love, it's obvious to us that the love we feel comes from within us. That we have no problem owning it. We're the lover in love. The origin begins within us. Yeah, I love and look. But so often we have a problem owning our negative feelings and accepting that we are the blamer in blame. That its origin begins in us too. It's hard to believe. That's why most people don't. That we're never experiencing anything except our own thoughts projected in front of us. We're looking at them. As we say every Sunday, as we said last Sunday, and still it's hard to remember all the time that it's true. The world we individually experience is not done to us, it's being done by us. It's being done by us. There's nobody else doing it. And it's not coming at us, it's coming from us. We never experience another person as they are, or the world as it is. We experience others and the world as we are, where we've got it all in our mind. When we've got someone in a negative place in our mind, we're not in sync with the greater part of us that loves unconditionally, no matter what. And so we don't realize that we are free to love, no matter what. That whoever we're judging doesn't need to change or to be different in any way for us to let go of our blame and our judgments. Because we can't take negativity into that high vibration of love that lives in us, as us. We have to let go in order for our vibration to rise within us. And it's only as we rise in the awareness of the love that lives in us and loves us no matter what, that we are able to look at others and say from our heart, no matter what they're saying or what they're doing, I got you up where my inner being has me. And you are beautiful, just as you are. The way of the heart tells us, therefore, as I have said unto you many times, never fail to remember that it takes one to know one, for it is your consciousness alone that can reach out and embrace all created things until you literally realize that all things have arisen from within you. Namaste. Got a little Eddie Watkins going on over there. Okay. Well, this is the time of our service when we get to say thank you, thank you, thank you. It always feels good. And we are so grateful, again, for you showing up today. We're grateful for the love that you bring, the support, the good things that all of you do here. We are so grateful for that. We're grateful for the financial support I know each one of you gives. And we are grateful for those of you who watch us live stream, for all that you are giving and for just being here and wanting to be a part of this. And we're grateful if you found us wherever you found us, because if you listened all the way through, then it means that you care about what you think and say and do. So we'd like to continue saying what we say. We'd like to continue doing it together. We'd like to continue live streaming. We'd like to grow and expand in this message. And in order for us to do what we do in the way that we do it, and even greater ways, it requires financial support. And so thank you for all of you who know that and do that. And for anyone who does know that but hasn't done it yet, and you're wondering how you can do it because you know it, then our wonderful treasurer, Dr. Jamie Phillips, is here to tell you how.
Ooh, good morning.
Good
Great
morning.
talk.
Thank you.
I felt like you had me. You had me at hello.
I got you.
If you would like to donate to the Life Enrichment Center and you are online, there are several ways to do it. You can go to facebook.com/Life Enrichment Center and hit the donate button. You can go to our website, lecflint.com. There's a donate button on that site. You can go to PayPal, right, Laura? And our PayPal email address is lec2512@gmail.com, and you can donate to us via that way, or you can always send in a check. Our P.O. Box is Life Enrichment Center, P.O. Box 321-294, Flint, Michigan 48532.
Woo-hoo.
And in the sanctuary, we'll be taking up an offertory while we listen to Daniel Namad and Nemo Patel singing a song, Grateful, and then Reverend Stephanie will be back for a gratitude prayer. Thank you.